Lucas, born September 9, 1930, is an American former heroin dealer, who operated in Harlem during the late 1960s and early 1970s. He was particularly known for cutting out middlemen in the drug trade and buying heroin directly from his source in the Golden Triangle. Lucas boasted that he smuggled heroin using the coffins of dead American servicemen, but this claim is denied by his Southeast Asian associate, Leslie Atkinson. Rather than hide the drugs in the coffins, they were hidden in the pallets underneath, as depicted in the 2007 feature film American Gangster, in which he was played by Denzel Washington, although the film fictionalized elements of Lucas' life for dramatic effect. Lucas was born in La Grange, North Carolina, and raised in Greensboro, North Carolina. 8. He was the son of Mahalie, née Jones (1909–2003), and Fred Lucas. He claims that the incident that sparked his motivation to embark on a life of crime was witnessing his 12-year-old cousin's murder at the hands of the Ku Klux Klan, for apparently reckless eyeballing, looking at, a Caucasian woman, in Greensboro. He drifted through a life of petty crime until one particular occasion when, after a fight with a former employer, he fled to New York on the advice of his mother. In Harlem, he indulged in petty crime and pool hustling before he was taken under the wing of Gangster Bumpy Johnson. Lucas' connection to Johnson has since come under some doubt. He claimed to have been Johnson's driver for 15 years, although Johnson spent just 5 years out of prison before his death in 1968. According to Johnson's widow, much of the narrative that Lucas claims as his actually belonged to another young hustler named Zach Walker, who lived with Johnson and his family and later betrayed him. After Johnson's death, Lucas traveled around and came to the realization that, to be successful, he would have to break the monopoly that the Italian mafia held in New York. Traveling to Bangkok, Thailand, he eventually made his way to Jack's American Star Bar, an R&R hangout for black soldiers. It was here that he met former U.S. Army Sergeant Leslie Atkinson, a country boy from Goldsboro, North Carolina, who happened to be married to one of Lucas' cousins. Lucas is quoted as saying, "Ike knew everyone over there, every black guy in the Army, from the cooks on up." When interviewed for a magazine article published in 2000, Lucas denied putting the drugs among the corpses of American soldiers. Instead, he flew with a North Carolina carpenter to Bangkok and, "We did it, all right. Ha, ha, ha. Who the hell is gonna look in a dead soldier's coffin? Ha ha ha. We had him make up 28 copies of the government coffins. Except we fixed them up with false bottoms, big enough to load up with 6, maybe 8 kilos. It had to be snug. You couldn't have shit sliding around. Ike was very smart, because he made sure we used heavy guys' coffins. He didn't put them in no skinny guys." However, Atkinson, nicknamed Sergeant Smack by the Drug Enforcement Administration, has said he shipped drugs in furniture, not caskets. Whatever method he used, Lucas smuggled the drugs into the country with this direct link from Asia. Lucas said that he made $1 million per day selling drugs on 116th Street, though this was later discovered to be an exaggeration. Federal Judge Sterling Johnson, who was special narcotics prosecutor in New York at the time of Lucas' crimes, called Lucas Operation one of the most outrageous international dope smuggling gangs ever, an innovator who got his own connections outside the U.S. and then sold the narcotics himself in the street. In an interview, Lucas said, "I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be Donald Trump rich, and so help me God, I made it." Lucas only trusted relatives and close friends from North Carolina to handle his various heroin operations. Lucas thought they were less likely to steal from him and be tempted by various vices in the big city. He stated his heroin, Blue Magic, was 98 to 100% pure when shipped from Thailand. Lucas has been quoted as saying that his worth was something like $52 million, most of it in Cayman Islands banks. Added to this is maybe 1,000 kilograms, 2,200 pounds, of dope on hand, with a potential profit of no less than $300,000 per kilo, per 2.2 pounds. This huge profit margin allowed him to buy property all over the country, including office buildings in Detroit, and apartments in Los Angeles and Miami. He also bought a several thousand-acre ranch in North Carolina on which he ranged 300 head of Black Angus cattle, including a breeding bull worth $125,000. Lucas rubbed shoulders with the elite of the entertainment, politics, and crime worlds, stating later that he had met Howard Hughes at one of Harlem's best clubs in his day. Though he owned several mink and chinchilla coats and other accessories, Lucas much preferred to dress casually and corporately so as not to attract attention to himself. When he was arrested in the mid-1970s, all of Lucas' assets were seized. The properties in Chicago, Detroit, Miami, North Carolina, Puerto Rico, they took everything. My lawyer told me they couldn't take the money in the offshore accounts, and I had all my money stored in the Cayman Islands. But that's BS, they can take it. Take my word for it. If you got something, hide it, cause they can go to any bank and take it. In January 1975, Lucas' house in Teaneck, New Jersey, was raided by a task force consisting of 10 agents from Group 22 of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration and 10 New York Police Department detectives attached to the Organized Crime Control Bureau, OCCB. In his house, authorities found $584,683 in cash. He was later convicted of both federal and New Jersey state drug violations. The following year he was sentenced to 70 years in prison. Once convicted, Lucas provided evidence that led to more than 100 further drug-related convictions. For his safety in 1977, Lucas and his family were placed in the Witness Protection Program. In 1981, after 5 years in custody, his 40-year federal term and 30-year state term were reduced to time served plus lifetime parole. In 1984, he was caught and convicted of trying to exchange 1 ounce of heroin and $13,000 for 1 kilogram.